Okay. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to our webinar, Managing Severe Flooding with Everbridge Nixle. I'll be moderating today. My name is Mitch, and I'm here with Everbridge Nixle. So a few things before we begin. You all can feel welcome to ask questions at any point. Just type your question into the Questions tab on the right. We'll also be recording this webinar. So either today or tomorrow, I'll be sending out an email containing the webinar as well as the slides that will be used today. You also feel free to follow us on Twitter at Nixle. And you can feel free to tweet to us at any time using the hashtag Nixle. Any questions that are not answered today, we will have someone from here, Nixle follow up with you and make sure your question gets answered. So our speakers today will be Jeff Jelinek. He's the Emergency Management Director over in Sauk County, Wisconsin, Emergency Management, as well as Michael Scott, who is the Senior Manager of Marketing Programs here at Everbridge Nixle. So Jeff, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, well, thank you, Mitch. Thanks for having us here. Just going to again get a brief overview of what is entailed in Sauk County here. We've been the Emergency Management Director since January of 2007, and we have a pretty small staff as a program assistant. And also I serve as the County Public Information Officer in any type of a disaster and emergency. Kind of background of a logistics for law enforcement, fire, and that. We have a sheriff's department like most do, and then 6 police departments around the county. We have all of our fire departments are paid on call, and then we have 3 full-time EMS stations and then 6 paid on call. So we've got kind of limited supplies. Population here for Sauk County, 63,000, but we have what's called the Wisconsin Dells, or it's the water park capital of the world. And actually, for the Sauk County side, it's Lake Delton, but everything goes by Wisconsin Dells. On a holiday weekend, we can get up to 150,000 or more individuals, plus the 63,000. So we have a very big population, especially holiday weekends and summers. 849 square miles, so we got a pretty big area. The 2 big rivers that we have problems with flooding, the Wisconsin River back in 2008, Lake Delton actually breached and sent down 5 homes down the Wisconsin River, and we had to redo the lake and bring that back. The other river that's created a lot of problems is the Baraboo River, and that's what we'll really be talking about today, is the issues that we had with the Baraboo River during the September incident. So I talked about Lake Delton, tremendous amount of hotels, condos, water parks. So we have a big transient population of people coming in and out, visitors from all different parts of the world. We've had 4 presidential declared flood disasters since 2000. Most recently, 2008 was the biggest one that we had, which was over $35 million in public assistance and individual assistance. So for us, that's a pretty big thing here. Numerous other flooding incidents that have used Wisconsin Disaster Fund monies or other grant type fundings, and just continually seems that the water never goes away around here lately. Some of the ways that we got Nixle into the community, we've been a user of Nixle since 2011, and started off with our first big thing was tax bills and electric bills to try to get the information out to the public. Word of mouth seems to work really good when we have major incidents. People will tell others, or we try to tell people, hey, notify a friend. This is how we're going to keep people in the loop. We've also had information at county fair booths, utilizing the media sources to let them know that we're using Nixle. The one that I've found out that works pretty good, though, is when we have a major disaster in our state as well. If we have a big tornado or a big flood and it's not affecting Sauk County, is to just get information out that, hey, if this would occur in our county, the way we're going to keep track of you is through the Nixle system. And we seem to get quite a few people that sign up. And we've also worked with our private groups like the Lions and the Elks and things like that to get information out to their members in the community to assist us, as well as private business, sending information to them to let their employees know through email chains that Nixle is available. Some of the different groups we have the general public, the Nixle Wire as we call it. We have a county government site, so for our county government groups, so for our county government employees, if something were to occur within one of our county buildings, we can notify them. We have a special group for the schools as well, so if something happens in a school, whether it be private or public in Sauk County, we can share information so they have some situational awareness. Then we have several other local government groups that utilize it, as well as severe weather. This is one of our new things that we put into place last year with the populations that we have coming into the area, we've worked with the water parks where people can just type in the 888-777 and the word severe and send it in, opt in, and they're going to get severe weather alerts while they're here. And then when they leave, just the stop and they're done. So that's been a hit. We've got a lot of positive feedback on that. And then also our groups, we have a lot of public-private partnerships that we work with, especially up in the Lake Delton area. And we have special groups set up for that. If we have something like counterfeiting or something going on in an area, we can spread information out really, really quick to all the different businesses in that area. So we have some plans. We've got the Nixle utilization plan, and it's more of its guidelines. That's part of our information, our public information annex. We've used this for a lot of different things. We've had lost folks before, children. We had a kid just recently that was lost, and as the sent out a Nixle alert, and there was somebody in a car that starts waving at a police officer, screaming out the door, he's down the street here, he's down the street. So it's been a good use of that. Barricaded subjects, we have folks that are barricaded in their homes. We like to try to keep the residents informed, and we try to get updated information about every 30 minutes, and we seem to get a lot of positive feedback on that. Wanted suspects, we just had a guy recently that was wanted, and we sent out a Nixle message, and 5 minutes later he was arrested in a Pomeda in a store in Reedsburg. Somebody had saw him in the store there. And then our general safety messages, winter driving, severe weather, change in smoke detector batteries, that type of thing. Whatever comes up with that, we'll utilize the Nixle system for that as we go through. So some of the things that happened here back in September of last year of 2016, we had minor flooding earlier in the month, and it went up to, we're talking here is the Baraboo River. The Baraboo River in Rock Springs went up to approximately 20 feet. And that's about a foot over major flood stage. Sounds like a lot, but for that area, 20 feet is, get just a little bit of water on the road. It's nothing real major. There's a quick turn point, though, once it starts going. So we got towards the middle of the month, we continue to get continued heavy rains. The river had actually started to go down, but the problem was the water in the ground were so saturated that with the rains, it had no place to go but into the rivers. What was kind of unique in this situation is we had never had in a flood that I've been involved in over the 10 years that the Wisconsin and the Baraboo River were both high at the same time. So we've never seen that. So we weren't real sure how that was going to impact the Baraboo because it does empty into the Wisconsin River. And so that made it a little bit more interesting to try to track what was going to happen. As I talked about, Rock Springs, that the major flood stage is at, it's minor flood stage, is 19 feet. But it was forecast to go over 28 feet on the Baraboo River in the Rock Springs area. So 28.76 feet is what we hit in 2008, and there's going to be a picture coming up here showing you Rock Springs. And I talked about the damages that we had in the overall flooding, $35 million in 2008. Luckily, in the September incident, we had two heavy rains that were forecast to hit us, and they actually went to the south, and I don't know why, but for once that was a good thing for us. This is a picture of Rock Springs back in 2008. And what the issue was with the 28 feet, the forecasted condition, this is what you see at 28.76 feet. Individuals were getting very concerned, which I can wholeheartedly understand why. And with Nixle, it was a great way of squashing any rumors that we had, but also keeping people with the latest and greatest information. One of the neat things about using the Nixle thing here was that I was in control of the information. I didn't have to wait for the media or any other source to get information out. If I wanted something to go out to the residents or I heard something on a news source that was incorrect, I could get the proper information out to the individuals. Here's some of the different ways, and this is just a real limited messages. I mean, we sent out, I wouldn't even know we had sent over 100 messages, but we just told people to kind of get prepared here. We had more heavy rains that were expected, talking about sandbags and telling them to have a plan, try to stay out of the, driving over water when the roads. We wanted to make sure that we had some safety issues on that. As we continue on, talking about water levels and sandbags, I wanted to give them a little bit of idea of what we were expected to get again, and then that sandbags were available and trying to get people to prepare. Seems like in our county here, they wait until the water's at the door or coming in the house, and they want to start sandbagging, so that's a little too late for anything to be done. We worked with our public health department, talked about the water cleanup kits, so if they got water in there, how they could clean it up, gave them a website that told them how to clean it. The center message, we had information that was going out that there's a dam up above us, that both retainer gates had been opened up. there's a plan in place that they are supposed to contact us when they open any of those. Well, even though we talked to the individual the day before when they opened it up, they forgot. But we use this for rumor control. People were saying that both gates were open and they thought there was going to be a big wall of water coming down when really only one gate was open. So utilizing that for rumor control. And then the bottom message was something that we put out because we were getting people saying that in the September incident, the earlier September, that the water was up to, 30 or 25 feet when actually it was only at 20 feet. So we wanted to use that again. So this truly worked really well from a rumor control standpoint and keeping people with the latest and greatest information. And again, as I said, we were in control of it. It wasn't counting on anybody else to get it out. We worked with the press and the media, and sent out press releases on a daily basis, but we only would send out one. I didn't want to try saturating the media and getting things too concerned. So we tried to keep that down to once a day. What we found out is the media is following us on Nixle. So when we would put information out on Nixle, we'd see it up on our web pages, or else I'd be getting calls from individuals to do on-air interviews. So we did several news station interviews out of Madison, as well as radio interviews with different sources to try to keep the public informed and let them know what we were doing and ways of getting in contact with us if they had any questions. The Nixle message, as I talked about a little bit earlier, was real frequent, but mainly what we dealt with was just life safety issues and information. I didn't want to be sending out a lot of different messages that didn't have anything to do with life safety. So if we had anything that dealt with life safety, we sent that out right away. Otherwise, we would try to save everything else for that press release that went out on a day-to-day basis. Did I skip one here? Yeah. So here we go. Damage assessment. Nixle was utilized for damage assessment. We got information out to the public on what messages they should be, what numbers they should be calling, and what information we wanted from them. That was a big thing. We wanted to make sure that when they were calling us with damage, that we were getting the proper information. We talked to them and sent out information through the public health department about water test kits. So we are a very rural community, so we have a lot of people that are on septic, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't have any waterborne illness. So one of the things that we worked very hard with was our public health department, ensuring that we were covering all the bases for any type of public health outbreak that may happen. The flood cleanup kits, we continually sent that out with information. And then we also talked about how any flood-related materials that were in the basements or anything that got contaminated with flood water, how to take care of. We had cleanup kits dispersed throughout the communities and the counties. So these are all messages that continually went out on Nixle. And we also talked about crisis counseling. As I talked about with rumor control, a lot of people were having flashbacks to a major flood that was in 2008. And we wanted to try to keep people realizing that, hey, this isn't going to be as bad as it was in 2008. Can understand where they're coming from, but we wanted to try to give them some aid if they needed it. So we got information out on Nixle related to that as well. A couple of the things that we really found out for this time, it was great for rumor control. We didn't have a system like this back in 2008. We didn't have a system in 2010 when we got flooded, and that's when in 2011, we started with the Nixle system because we realized we needed to have a system to get up to the public in a quick time frame with trusted information that was coming from a secure source and not from a media or we have what's called Baraboo Scanner, and it's just a bunch of people that listen to the repeaters and just put information out that's 90% of the time it's not even close to being true. So this has been a great source. It really helped with managing stress. We got a lot of positive feedback from the public with the information that kept coming. They could make decisions, and it kept them in the loop. They didn't have to guess. And there was always a telephone number if they had any questions that they could call to get more information. If they didn't understand something, we gave them information to get a hold of us so they could ask. The one thing we figured out is calling things crisis counseling. It was valuable, but people don't think they need crisis counseling. And we got very little contact on that. When we switched it to how are we going to keep the river clean after the flooding, we did the exact same thing, but we had more contact from us. So that was one of the things that we learned is from the way we put that out, we just need to change the verbiage a little bit, do the exact same thing, and nobody knows that we're actually doing what we're doing. And then it really helped us identify people that needed help from a psychological standpoint or mental health standpoint. So this would just be my contact information. If anybody would have any questions, I'm more than willing to address any of those. I'm a firm believer in Nixle. It's worked great, and it's a easy and simple system that it doesn't take long to learn how to operate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. That was great. I'm going to turn it over to you right now, Mike.
Okay. Mitch, can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Jeff, for your presentation. And now I want to quickly go through, give you guys a quick overview of who Nixle is, who Everbridge is, and go over some of the unique features that we offer and the benefits to partnering up with Nixle. So just to quickly go over our mission as an organization, very briefly, really what it's all about is keeping people safe in organizations, whether public, private, healthcare, keep them running. We're used for a wide variety of use cases, from man-made to natural disasters to even IT outages and community events. Across the country, Everbridge and Nixle together have over 900,000 agencies that currently leverage us, leverage one of our products or a variety of our products. So really what we try and do and what separates Nixle apart is the value cycle of community engagement. And it's what we push a lot with our Nixle solution for public safety. Because with our solution and leveraging it for community engagement, you're able to build that relationship with residents, build awareness, by sending out something as simple as, like Jeff said, utility bills, parking notices, stuff like that, to let them know that there is a solution out there where they can get alerts for important information, such as the utility bill, but also life safety issues as well. And because they're already leveraging you for day-to-day information, you'll have their information for those important emergency events when it really matters to have their information. So what makes Nixle different is you leverage one platform to send messages. So we have the ability, with our solution, you have the ability to integrate with your social media pages. You can simultaneously post those pages as well as SMS, a mobile app, email, etc. What this helps you do is keep messages consistent and clear, and you can avoid character limitations with links to full messages. So if you need to provide additional information, you're able to do that with our solution. Ultimately, this comes down to it's going to save you time, it's going to save resources and costs, and most importantly, because you're saving time and your resources, and they're able to reallocate that time and those response resources to the actual problem at hand, you can potentially save more lives. So I want to quickly go over a couple success stories that that will show you guys and illustrate how we're used for a variety of these use cases. So one includes just a few weeks ago, Ottawa, Illinois, the mayor, Robert Estach, praised safety officials for using Nixle for tornado alerts. So there's this quote there, and he thinks it did help minimize the loss of life and damage. Additionally, we have been used for missing persons cases. So in Navarro, Texas, earlier this year, an individual had gone missing who was at risk. A nearby resident had seen an alert that was sent out to residents and was able to contact the authorities to get that person to safety. Finally, we were also used for a larger, incidents as well, such as the NYC bombing suspect from last fall. Similar to what had happened with the missing person above, a local resident in a New Jersey town across the Hudson had seen this individual because he had the description, a picture from a Nixle alert handy. So ultimately, though, what it comes down to, yes, we can provide great content, help you guys share information quickly, but ultimately without residents registered on your system, it's going to impede your message. So with Nixle, what we do differently is we have a very simplified registration process. So residents are able to simply opt into your system with very few hurdles. All they have to do is text their zip code to 888-777, and if they would like to provide additional information, they can even use their cell phone number that they opted in with and go to nixle.com and use that as their login and create an online account and add some additional contact paths if they so choose. So here's a quick illustration of that, and if you guys would like to try that, you can now. So why is that important, and how does that actually get used? Well, what's great about that is you're able to, as an existing agency, if say your county or one of your cities is already leveraging Nixle, and you have jurisdiction over that zip code or your county, you might have multiple cities in jurisdiction. You'd be able to leverage their opt-ins as well for emergency notifications. And the resident does have the ability to opt out to specific agencies if they choose, or get messages from all those agencies. So this is what we call the network effect. So as I just previously mentioned, you, in this example, LA County Sheriff would be able to access all of their cities and PDs and fire departments opt-ins, so they would be able to expand their message to a greater audience. So another great way to get opt-ins for your transient populations or for specific events is our keyword opt-in. So it works the same as a zip code opt-in, except for instead of texting your zip code to 888-777, you would text a specified keyword. So the example here would be a jazz festival. A resident or visitor or contractor or vendor, they would be able to text jazz festival or 4th of July parade or whatever event you guys would have in your city, your county. I know we have a couple schools on, or your school. You'd be able to create a keyword for a specific event. So why don't we try it out? I had set up a keyword prior to this webinar. So if you text Nixle Web, all one word, no spaces, to 888-777, you will be opted into our webinar group, and you will get a automatic alert that is sent directly to you. And don't worry, guys, I won't be sending any messages after the webinar. So let's jump into a quick case study of how that event in zip code opt-in keyword performed. So the state of Florida and many of its counties leverage Everbridge and Nixle for their emergency, as part of their emergency preparedness strategy. So in light of Hurricane Matthew, the state had decided they wanted to use the keyword opt-in to let their transient population and their general population know where to go to get emergency alerts. So they used the keyword FL prepares and tweeted that out and sent it through various different contact paths to their audiences to text that keyword to 888-777 to receive all their Hurricane Matthew storm updates. What they saw was in 24 hours, over 350,000 people opt in, which is a very substantial number. And here's some more stats. As you can see, this was used to go to a large audience, and it was used frequently. And there are a couple of examples of the messages that were sent to keep people safe and secure. So lastly, I want to finish off by showing you guys our mobile publishing app that was released earlier this year, late last year rather. So you can actually go to, if you are a Nixle customer already or want to check out the app, you can go to the iOS and Android store and Google Store and download it there. So what the app allows you to do is, as you know, we are in a mobile world, and often our officers are on the go, or emergency managers are visiting different sites, or they're at home because emergencies don't happen typically 9 to 5. They're not happening typically in an ideal situation where you're at your desktop and can calmly send a message. Often they're happening at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or on the weekends when you're preoccupied and doing something else and don't have the luxury of being in your desktop. So what Engagebridge does is it allows you to easily and effectively publish from your mobile app with two options: quick message, which is predefined templates that let you quickly go through who you're going to send the message to, and as you can see on the right, select the contact path you want to go. The advanced message lets you go a little bit further and select different groups. And you can choose what type of message you want it. So you can send it as an alert, which would be the highest priority, an advisory, or a community message. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mitch, to begin our Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Okay. So, just a reminder, everyone can ask questions right now if you'd like, and just type them into the panel on the right. Our first question is for you, Jeff. So the question is, how did you or did you utilize social media in conjunction with Nixle during the floods? Hey, Jeff, we can't hear you. I think you're maybe muted, so.
How's that? Better?
Yep.
You there? Okay. Sorry about that. When our Nixle page automatically goes to our Facebook and our Twitter page, so that is followed, and we got several retweets, especially on the tweeting part of it. We got a tremendous amount of retweets with all the information that went out.
Awesome, thanks. This next one's for you, Mike. Can residents opt into multiple zip codes if they work and live in different areas?
Great question. Yeah, so with Nixle or Everbridge, residents are able to opt into as many zip codes as they like. As you know, as you just mentioned, people aren't in the same zip code all the time. Additionally, you might have children who go to school in a different zip code, or parents who live in a different zip code as well that you might want to get alerts for. So short answer is yes, you can opt into as many zip codes and keywords as you'd like.
Thank you, Mike. Next one is for you, Jeff. Do you have a separate group for the media, or do you only send the messages via Nixle as opt-ins?
We do not have a separate group for the media. We have a separate email group for the media, but as far as the Nixle stuff, they just hear about it and they opt in. So that information is, just whatever's going out to the public is exactly what's going to the media. Oftentimes when we send out a Nixle message in the SMS or the text portion, it'll be very, you're limited character-wise. In the email portion, I'll actually put the press release that went out to the media. So the residents are getting exactly what the media got as well. And then that way, if the media is following us on the Nixle system, they're getting the message that went out to the rest of the media as well.
Thank you, Jeff. The next one is for you, Mike. A lot of residents do not have cell phones. Is there a way to send messages via multiple contact paths?
Yeah, so with Nixle, you can send it to, in Everbridge, you can send to a variety of contact paths. So if they don't have a cell phone, you can send it via their email, to a landline, and also really what makes Nixle and Everbridge unique is we have a partnership with Google Public Alerts. So if, say, a county like Sauk County were to send a message about severe weather, people who are searching on Google in that area would get an alert that would be prioritized and at the top of their Google search page. So anyone who would be online would be able to see that message that's in that potentially affected area as well.
Thanks, Mike. Next one is for you again, Jeff. Did you run any campaigns after the floods to try and increase opt-ins for the Nixle?
Yes, we did. We did a lot of work with the folks at the local level, the villages and cities and towns, and we had with the village towns meetings and things like that to get information out. We also did a campaign with Nixle and the media to try to get information out to people to sign up. One of the other things that we've found out is a good way of getting information out to the public with Nixle is, especially during disasters, is to the insurance companies. We've partnered with insurance companies in the past to get information and say if residents call up, if you wouldn't mind just telling them about the Nixle system, that's the way they're going to get the latest and greatest information from us. So that's really been a good partnership as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. We are just about out of time now, so I want to thank everyone for their questions. I want to thank our presenters for doing a great job today. And with that, that will conclude this presentation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.